recorded live in Jacksonville, Florida. This is Trivial Warfare. More than just a pub quiz, Trivial Warfare is your gateway to a worldwide trivia community. Join your hosts, Jonathan.
We just described Ric Flair as Neanderthal Man and Planet of the Apes.
Carmela.
That would irritate the hell out. I'm like, I just want my groceries. My ice cream is melting.
Ben.
4 halogens in that list? Oh my God.
You're like, it's not the halogens. I'm like, no, Ben, no.
Those damn halogens got me again.
Aaron.
I haven't started cooking more, but I have started thinking about cooking more, so I've looked at a lot of recipes for things. Mostly cocktails.
Zakia.
I'm a very happy evil genius.
Yeah.
And Nick.
For all the listeners out there, if you spend enough money, you can be where I am today.
And the rest of the Trivial Warfare Army for another week of fun and games. Now here's your host, Jonathan Oakes.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Trivial Warfare. We are the podcast that takes the pub quiz out of the pub and brings it home to you. My name is Jonathan. I am here today with Nikki Bates. Hello, Nikki.
Hey, Jonathan. How's it going?
Doing good. I'm here with Mr. Chris Hollister. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Jonathan. Good to see you, sir.
Chris, I saw Nikki getting a kick out of you doing your imitation of me while I was doing the intro.
I do it almost every show because it's just like I have it verbatim.
It is a highly practiced art form at this point.
I will admit I do that in my car. Like I will talk along with you if I'm listening to the podcast, and especially with Ben during the open, like, please. You guys all do it too, admit it.
I'll do it.
I've never done it in my life.
You do it live every show.
Not a single time. But I appreciate it. Guys, we have awesome guests today. We want to get started with Mr. Will Krasnoff. Hello, Will.
Hello, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Some of the heat on the East Coast has subsided, so I'm finally comfortable for 2 days.
Fantastic. Well, I am super glad you were here. Thanks for joining us. And Hannah Landvater is with us today. Hello, Hannah.
Hey, Jonathan. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I want to get to know each of you a little bit better. Will, we're going to start with you. Tell everybody where you're from, what you do, and something fun about yourself.
All right. Yeah, so I'm from New York City. I'm a software engineer here, and something fun. So this is a fun fact I use that I am not sure the effectiveness of, but I will say it here. I am working on currently a 581 New York Times crossword puzzle streak. So why I say that this fun fact is sort of, varies in how hard it hits is that, so for people that don't do the crossword, they're just like, okay, fine, like whatever, dude. And then for people that do the crossword, they understand that it's more a question of stubbornness and endurance than it is any sort of great skill. But that's what I'll go with.
I love it. I do sometimes look at or do the New York Times crossword, but I guess my question is this: do you finish it every day? Is that what you're saying? Or do you just engage with it every day?
Oh, no. I finish it every day.
You finish it every day. How often do you have to look something up?
Almost never. I would say if there's a really, really... So, some people are purists. I am not like a total crossword purist. I will say if there's an unfair sort of proper noun, I will look that up to unblock myself. But I would say maybe once or twice a week, if that.
I was going to ask.
I do that puzzle. It's hard. There's some obtuse stuff that doesn't make sense phonetically. No, what's the word I'm looking for? In terms of grammatically.
Yes. That's right. It's sort of, you get used to it, right? Like that's the thing. After a while, you realize how often it's, you get repeat stuff. So I would say that, with some practice, Jonathan, I think you'd do just fine.
Do you think it makes you better at trivia?
Hopefully. I mean, it jars loose some facts that are hanging out in there,
Yeah, I love it. Well, Will, it is fantastic to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, great to be here.
And Hannah, tell everybody where you're from, what you do, and something fun about yourself.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Hannah. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, so sort of in the middle of the state. And I work as a traffic engineer for a consulting firm. And something fun about me, so last September, a group of myself and a bunch of my friends went to Munich for the opening weekend of Oktoberfest to celebrate my 30th birthday. So that was super fun.
Ooh.
And had a good time and drank lots of beer and enjoyed the opening weekend of Oktoberfest, which is more than just drinking. They do parades and there's all
I was
kinds
about
of
to say,
stuff
what was
everywhere.
it like?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It was packed because it's opening weekend. Would recommend being able to maybe go more than just the Saturday and Sunday of opening weekend of Oktoberfest. But it was fun. Like Sunday morning, they do a traditional parade where all of the various like communities will dress in traditional clothing from their area and have like all these really intricate floats and stuff, and it goes through the city. And so we checked that out Sunday before walking into the fairgrounds. But it's it's more than just like tents that are selling beer. Like I didn't realize how much like a fair it was. Like if you think of a fair here in the States, like there's rides. You could have gotten on a full roller coaster. Like we got in a Ferris wheel. Like it was like an insane, like I just wasn't expecting the ride aspect of it.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
That's neat. How many people did you see in Lederhosen?
A lot.
A lot?
Yeah.
So that's not just not a stereotype. That is what we're going for.
Oh yeah. And like the closer you get to where the fairgrounds are, there's like pop-up shops everywhere, kind of like a Spirit Halloween, that are like selling like semi knockoff Lederhosen. It's hysterical. Like the whole thing.
Knockoff.
Spirit Hosen. I love it.
Yep.
Who knew?
And they're
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yep. It was pretty cool. It was a fun time. We were there for about a week, but we also did some time in Zurich too. So
Cool.
So,
guys, we learned something today. I feel like we've accomplished our mission. I hope you all enjoyed this show. I think we're ready to be done. No. All right. So, guys, this is going to be a great show. It is going to be episode number 538, and we're going to get started right now with Warm It Up, Chris.
It's time to warm it up on Trivial Warfare today. And there's only one person who can warm it up for the TWA, and that's Chris. And sometimes Jonathan.
All right, Chris.
Or Nikki.
Whatever.
Chris is here, but I'm warming it up today. This warm it up round comes from Brian Harris. So thank you, Brian, for sending this in.
Appreciate it, Brian.
I'm going to give you a country, and I want you guys to tell me if it lies above, below, or on the equator.
Ooh.
All right.
So I'm going to start with Chris. We're testing your geography knowledge.
In
Chris,
any part of the country. Is that how we're playing it? Like if it's the bottom tip of Florida, that counts for the whole U.S., right?
Jonathan, I got to come clean with you. I did not check each one of these countries on Google Maps. I'm trusting Brian with this. So if you disagree, feel free to fact check me on Google Maps.
I don't have anything to disagree with. I'm just asking so we can guess better.
I believe this is entire country. Like if any part of it lies on the equator, I believe it's marked as on. But
okay, cool.
I have not double checked that. So Chris, we're going to start with you, and your country is Madagascar. Does that lie above, below, or on the equator?
I'm going to say below.
That is correct, Chris.
Oh.
Hannah, you're
feeling
next.
Warm already.
Are you feeling like tropical, like Tropic of Cancer or Tropic of Capricorn, maybe equator warm?
I'm starting to get that way. That's for sure. Just know I was afraid I was going to be like Antarctica warm. But now I'm feeling
Antarctica, not on my list. That would be too easy. Hannah, your country is Ecuador.
Oh, below?
It is on.
Oh, it's on, isn't it? Yeah.
Ecuador, I believe, might mean equator.
Is it? Okay.
I think they are related.
Will, your country is Brazil.
That's a big country. I am going to say that it is below the equator.
It is on the equator. Also lies on. Jonathan, the Philippines.
Philippines. Which one of the Philippines? There's lots of them.
It's tough.
Together as a national unit.
All right. I'm going to say below.
It is above.
Oh my God. Okay. I should have been better at that. I was considering on as my top end. Wow.
You are incorrect. It is listed as above. Chris,
yes, ma'am.
Somalia.
Ooh, I'm going to say above.
It is on.
As
we do these, pay attention to other people's because it'll be helpful when you hear the other countries. Hopefully, it'll start to build a map in your brain. Hannah, your country is Indonesia.
Above?
It is on.
I clearly have Indonesia and Philippines flipped in my head as to where they exist in the world.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Will, your country is China.
Oh my gosh. I think it's above, but I bet there's something sticking.
Above.
Oh,
good
amazing.
job.
We did it.
No need to hedge those bets. You got it right.
I was going to say on. I really thought it was going to be on because of how large it is, but that's cool.
That's how all the big countries, I'd be like, some part of that's going to be on the equator.
Well, that's what happened with Brazil. It's just the very northern part of it.
Yep. All right, Jonathan, you've got Uruguay.
That's just mean. No, it's if the top of Brazil is on the equator, which is where I think that is. Uruguay is below most of the southern parts, so I'm going to say it's below.
Your logic checks out. It is below.
Nice.
Chris,
yes,
I've got this is another big country, India.
It's a big country.
I'm going to say on.
It is above.
It's above. Yeah, India's further north than the bottom of China.
Hannah, we're going back to Africa. You've got Mozambique.
On?
It is below.
I saw your clue too late.
Will, you've got Colombia.
Okay, I am going to say that. So, I mean, we're in South America. I know Colombia is sort of nestled in the northern type of the sort of northwest corner of South America there. I don't know sort of vis-a-vis Ecuador where it is, but I'm going to say on.
Colombia is on the equator.
Hey, good job, Will.
All right.
Jonathan, you've got the DRC, the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Oh, shoot. Okay, it's big.
It is big.
The equator runs below the top countries there. Libya, Algeria, that stuff. Those are above it. Democratic Republic of the Congo is significantly south, though, because Ethiopia is below that and Sudan. And I would think that that's where it's crossing. So I'm going to say DRC is below.
DRC lies on the equator.
God bless it.
Chris, your
Yes, ma'am.
country is Peru.
I'm going to say below.
Below is correct.
Good job.
I got 2.
Both Will and Chris have a couple so far, but this is playing harder than I thought. We'll see how the ending goes. Hannah, your country is Kenya.
Below?
Kenya is on the equator.
Oh,
It's very close to DRC right there.
Is it? Okay. Yeah.
Well, we're going way out to the Pacific. This is Kiribati.
Never heard of it. So,
if you read it, it looks like Kiribati.
Kiribati. Okay.
Jinx.
All right. Well, just wild guess. I'm just going to say it's on the equator.
Your wild guess paid off. It is on the equator.
It is a very small island nation. I couldn't think of a reason why he would include it if it wasn't on the equator.
And I feel like some of those in the Pacific are kind of spread out too, like Micronesia, like even though it is tiny islands, if you group them all together, they take up a big space. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would be curious if there's any sort of Pacific islands where one sort of island in the archipelago is on one side of the equator and the other's on the other. I mean, there must be, but
I feel like Indonesia has to be that way. Because Indonesia was on, that means there's stuff above and below.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those geography nerds are going to hit us up in the spoiler thread and tell us.
Nikki, how would you have done on this? Because I know you're a geography nerd.
I think surprisingly poorly. I would have done poorly. I always misjudge where the continents lie in relation to each other. I'm great at capitals and countries and knowing like which continent they're on, what they border. Yep. But if you draw a line around the globe and I'm comparing something in Africa to something in South America, I think I've shifted them. And so I don't think I would have done so well. Jonathan, you've got South Sudan.
Son of a biscuit, right? So this is earlier I had freaking DRC, and I used Sudan as a reference, and I was wrong because the line went through DRC. Sudan should be north of DRC, so I'm going to say above, north.
Your logic is correct. It is above.
Nice.
All right.
All right, this is the final round.
Dun, dun, dun.
Chris.
Yes, ma'am.
Maldives.
Maldives nuts.
Chris!
I mean, the capital of the Maldives is spelled like male, so I think it's Male.
I'm going to say below.
It is on the equator.
Dang it, Carl.
Hannah, Uganda.
I feel like my whole continent judges off. I'm going to go below, but I have a feeling it's wrong.
It is on
Nice.
the equator. Will, Mali.
Mali. I think Jonathan was talking about Mali earlier, and I think he said that's sort of up north near the Sahara Desert. So I'm going to say it's above the equator.
That is correct. It is above the equator. And last country, Jonathan, this one goes to you, Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka is an island nation off the southern tip of Indonesia. I don't believe it goes further south than all of the southern point of China, which was above. So I'm going to say above.
It is above. You guys got about half of these right.
The longer you do it, the easier it gets. For me, it's like give me some reference points, and then I can put them together somewhat.
That's what Nikki said. Is you're slowly building the world
exactly.
in your head.
She's
See,
right.
I can draw it on here because it's so round and spherical.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this is like North Hemisphere bias or what, but I'm always just shocked at how much of the landmass in the world is like north of the equator, right? It just feels like it's so much further south than it actually is. It's right in the middle. So
I blame Mercator.
Honestly, guys, as you say that, it strikes me that there is very, very little of Asia, if any at all, below the equator. Because
interesting. Okay.
southern China is about as far south in Asia as you're going to go, and that was above the equator. So I don't have the line. Maybe something like Thailand or Myanmar.
Indonesia is on, so we did Indonesia, and that's
right,
on.
but
And
that's
Philippines
an island
is above.
mass.
So that's a huge mass.
No,
though.
no. That's my point, though. Is any of mainland Asia on the equator or below, or is it all north?
Yeah, I think it's mostly north.
Yeah. That's so most of the landmass in the world is above the equator, Will. You're 100% right. All right. Guys, that was awesome. That's warming up, Chris. Hope you did better than we did. And if not, then you're in good company because we're awesome. So that means you as well are awesome by the transmutative property of awesomeness.
Hey, Nikki,
Chris.
who did that warming up, Chris, again?
Brian.
That was Brian Harris. And deleting my question about transmutative No, I'm just kidding.
All right, guys. Today's going to be episode number 538. That means we are on the main feed. So I want to let you know, if you're on the main feed, first of all, thank you for being here. You're great. We love you, and we're glad that you're here. There's a lot more Trivial Warfare. If you're listening and you're like, I don't know, I don't want to pay for a podcast. There's 200 plus episodes out here for free. Why would I pay? I don't blame you. But when you get to the end of that 200 and something free episodes, you need to go to trivialwarfarearmy.com and sign up as a sergeant or higher. Once you do that, you'll unlock all the other episodes because we put them out every single week. And if you aren't a patron, you're missing out. So if you want to get in on that, go to trivialwarfarearmy.com, sign up as a sergeant or higher, and you'll get access to everything. Okay, guys, today's game. It's Jonathan and Hannah versus Chris and Will. Nikki is hosting, and it's time to play the game.
Players. Oh, yeah. Y'all know what time it is. This is Mr. Literature himself, cordially inviting you to the game. This is 6 rounds of trivia goodness. 3 questions per round. Every right answer gets you 10 points. In the middle, we'll take a pause for the cause and ask a midpoint question worth up to 20 juicy points. After round 6, you can wager any or all those points you've been building up and take a shot at the final round. It's a series of theme-based questions we call the Gauntlet. It's just that easy, baby. But this game ain't gonna play itself, players. Let's get it on.
All right, Nikki, take it away.
Big thank you to everyone who sent in questions. I think whenever I get questions from other people and I am not the only person writing it, that makes for a more diverse game. It makes for better questions. So if you have a question that you can send in, you can send that to Nikki at trivialwarfare.com. Or if you want to send it to one of the other hosts, you can find all of those addresses on the website as well. So with that being said, the first question comes to us from C. Chen. So thank you.
Thank you, C.
Okay, your category is It's About Time. Oh, and Sherlock reminder. Jonathan, you want to do that?
Don't forget you can Sherlock. So Sherlocking in involves saying, Nikki, wait. And then you have like 10 seconds to figure out if you're Sherlocking or not. If you don't do it in 10 seconds, if you're not typing something, you're not Sherlocking. If you have done it successfully, you're doing it after the category is read, but before the question is read, and you're guessing. And if you correctly guess the right answer before the question is read, you get 5 points. That can happen one time per game. If you miss it, it's okay. You still get to answer the question normally. It is just a chance for a positive outcome from being clever enough to figure out an answer from a category.
All right. Does anyone want to pre-call It's About Time for a Sherlock?
It's about time.
Hearing no objections. All right. Your question is, dating back to 1500 BC, what are the two Latin phrases that divide 24 hours of the day into 2 periods? Question coming to you in the chat.
Okay, we are locked in.
Okay. So, Hannah, I was suggesting ante-meridian and post-meridian. Here's my problem. Ante means after, and post also means after. Like antebellum is after the war, right?
Yep.
So if it was ante-meridian, that would be after. And if it was post-meridian, that would also be after. And so that kind of screws it up for me. I don't know. I think meridian is the M. And it's possible these are the two right prefixes, but I'm very open to alternative suggestion.
Yeah. So we'd be looking at changing the A then, right?
If post-meridian is if post-meridian is right, then yes, it would be looking to change the A.
Oh,
I thought for a second, well, maybe it's midnight, then ante-meridian could be after midnight, but then so would post.
Yeah. Yeah. That's...
And pre-meridian doesn't make any sense at all.
No, not in the context that we use it. Because they'd be switched.
And even with that logic, something is pulling me in the direction of these words.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like they're bad. They just don't make sense to me.
Could the M be different for each one? Like,
no, I don't think so.
Okay, that was my only other thought, is if we're missing something there. But I mean, I don't know if I'm going to come up with anything.
After meridian, that doesn't make sense either.
Mm-mm.
Are there any A words that mean before?
I got an A word.
Does it mean before, Nikki, or are you just being crass?
I'm just being crass.
Oh, no.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
I don't have anything better.
Yep. I'm not coming up with like any other prefixes or anything that like you could tie right and figure it out that way. Like my brain is not being helpful. So.
Do you want to go with it?
Yeah, I think we go with it.
All right. We're going to say the two Latin phrases that divide 24 hours of the day into 2 periods are ante-meridian and post-meridian.
Okay, they're locked in. And Chris and Will, what did you guys come up with?
Yeah, Will wrote it in pretty quick, and I agreed with him because I was like, I don't know if I can spell these things, and then I misspelled the word spell, which was fun. That's how my day's going so far. But Will, why don't you talk about your thoughts?
Yeah, so I pretty quickly landed on ante-meridian and post-meridian, and I actually told Chris that I had a lower degree of confidence on the second word than the prefixes there, similar to something Jonathan mentioned in the context of, reference to the American Civil War. I feel like my recollection of that conversation has both antebellum and postbellum as part of the conversation, so felt right to me, and I think that's just how I've heard it. So ante-meridian and post-meridian was just what we went with.
Okay, both teams locked in with ante-meridian and post-meridian. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to be a big meanie. You're not going to like me on this question. These points go to the great state of Nebraska, and I will tell you why. First of all, ante does mean before, so antebellum is before the Civil War.
Okay.
And
so
you were correct. Right. You had me in the first half. You are right with the ante and post. However, have you ever received like gas money from work or meal money that it's a per diem? Mm-hmm. This is ante and post meridium.
Wow. Meridium. Whoa.
So I'm starting out as a big meanie, and I'm going to be a stickler on that because it is not meridian. Yeah. It is meridium.
No, I get it. It's not a misspelling.
That's
it's a different term.
Amazing. That's amazing. That is knowledge that I think all of us should have as trivia people, and none of us did.
Wow.
And I don't hate it. That's good learning.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yep.
We've all learned something.
Will, you haven't done that in 500 and something crossword puzzles. Meridium hasn't come up yet.
No, it has not. Maybe today, though, after this, I'll find it in there. Wow.
That would be so funny.
I was going to say, luckily for you and Hannah, Jonathan, he did not get it in a crossword. So there you go.
Yeah. You know what? You know what else I love just now? I love this. Ben would always give points to Ravenclaw, and so would Carmilla. Nikki giving points to Nebraska as her thing when everybody misses is amazing.
It's the great state of Nebraska. Come on over. All right, round one, question 2. And this one comes to us from Bobby Gottfried. Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you, Bobby.
Your category is natural talent.
Natural talent. Okay.
In an effort to fit in with the nature-themed names of his siblings, which actor changed his name to Leaf in the mid to late 1980s?
Okay, do we need a first name or just a last name for this?
I do need first and last names due to those siblings.
So you want the original name, not Leaf?
Correct.
Okay.
Chris, you want to lock in?
Yeah, as long as Nikki's okay with the bad spelling.
Yeah.
We're locked in.
Okay. Hannah, what do you have? I'm throwing things out. I don't feel like it's the Bee Gees. I don't feel like it's the Estevezes.
No.
Leif Erikson is a name in my head that might just be a Nordic explorer.
Yeah, I had that one too, but I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not an actor. I'm pretty sure that's some history thing that's just lagging in my brain.
This is mid 80s, and it says siblings, not brothers.
Yeah.
Nature-themed names of his siblings. I don't know if this person stayed with Leaf. There's got to be at least 2 siblings. And it's the 80s.
I'm trying to think like flower, ocean. Me just naming out random nature-themed things that have been used as
Hill,
names.
Valley.
Yeah.
Tree. Tree Rollins was a basketball player. Acorn. Actors and actresses who are parts of families from back then. We talked about Gibbs. We talked about Sheens. The Partridge Family technically could count.
Yeah.
Think I love you.
Mid to late 80s. So think like 87, 88-ish. It's not the Jacksons.
No.
What was the category again, Nikki?
Natural talent. And you guys have 30 seconds.
Natural talent. Natural talent. I have no freaking idea.
No.
And that is time. So I'm going to need you guys to put in a freaking idea.
All right. We're going to go with the little-known third brother of Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen, and we're going to say Bob Dole, who changed his name to Leaf briefly in the late 80s to Leaf Dole. But the Estevezes don't follow a naming convention for the last names, so we wanted to keep the trend going.
I feel like the Dole thing goes with the pineapple fields. That's reasonable. I don't know his acting, but okay. Chris and Will, did you guys go with Bob Dole or did you come up with something else?
Bob Dole agrees with that answer. No, we absolutely did not.
Hey, don't be mean about it.
No, I'm just saying we did not. So my apologies, not trying to be mean, but I believe and Will gave me the ball on this one and I appreciate it. I believe this is Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin had changed his name to Leaf, but then changed it back when he became a serious actor. And so we went with Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay, locking in with Joaquin Phoenix. And you guys are correct. It is Joaquin Phoenix. Jonathan, when you started naming like natural words, when you said like ocean, I was like, if he says river, they're going to get it. But you didn't say river.
The question did say siblings, and I was looking for more than one. Is there another Phoenix other than Rivers?
Yeah, I believe there are. Googling. Yeah, River Phoenix, Rain Phoenix, Summer Phoenix, Liberty Phoenix. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That's a really good get, Chris. That's not an easy question. That's a good get.
It's Chris and I both put it in at the same time, too. We were just like, I guess it's Phoenix. I don't know.
Wow. Well done.
Can you imagine being an English language learner and seeing that name? You'd be like, who is Joaquin Pahonix?
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
All right, we're going to
next
move
time
on
I create a D&D character, I want their name to be Pahonix.
There you go.
Bobby
Spelled
Gottfried.
Phoenix, though. Spelled Phoenix.
Yeah.
Their
but
name
it's
will be
pronounced
Pahonix Phoenix. It'll be Phoenix Phoenix. But it's Pahonix Phoenix.
Out of the
I'm
fire.
hooked on
out of the fire.
Pahonix.
I'm hooked on Pahonix.
Wow.
Bobby Gottfried also sent us the next question. So round one,
Thank you,
question
Bobby.
3 comes to us from Bobby. And the category this time is It's Good to Be the King.
Ooh, it's going to be the king, going to be the king, going to be the king. I don't have enough.
Okay. And the question is, who played the roles of Moses, Torquemada, and Louis XVI in a movie he also directed?
And for what it's worth, Torquemada is spelled like the word torque, Torquue, Mada.
All right, we're locked in.
Wow. Okay. Chris, the entertainment questions. All right. Cool.
This is killing me.
Yeah, no, hey, good for him,
Chris
though. It's
Smash.
awesome. It's awesome when you get to hit your category, you know?
Yep.
Hannah,
Jonathan.
I can tell you this. Here's what I do know,
Okay.
which is not the right answer necessarily. Not impossible. I know Moses was played by Charlton Heston in the Ten Commandments.
Okay.
I wouldn't imagine that Louis XVI is in the Ten Commandments,
Yeah.
but it's a thing that happened, right? Here's a great answer. I just came up with a great answer.
Okay.
What about Mel Brooks?
Yeah. That's
Maybe
what I
this
was.
is history of the world.
Yeah. I was trying to go down like the comedy route, and right as they were locking in, I was like, I wonder if it was Mel Brooks, but I couldn't think of what it would have been in. But yeah, History of the World that would be something that catches all of those. So
I think that there's a scene in History of the World. It's definitely a Mel Brooks movie one way or another, but it's Moses walking down from the mountain, and he's got 3 tablets in his hand, and he says, I have brought forth to you these 15, and then he stumbles, and one of the tablets falls and cracks on the ground, and he just looks down at 2 tablets in his hand and he says, 10 Commandments. It's one of the funniest things.
Yep.
I think Mel Brooks is as good an answer as we can give.
Yep. Agreed.
All right, we're going to do it.
They're locked in with Mel Brooks. Chris and Will?
So, History of the World Part 1 has some of my favorite lines of any movie. Jonathan just said one. The other one is Gregory Hines is in it. He's walking around and he sees a slave walk or a person walk by, and he's like, "Hey, so and so, how you doing?" And then he's like, "Hey, Oedipus, how you doing, mother?" And and it's one of my even though yes, there's a bad word in it, it's still one of my favorite lines because it's if you don't pick up on it, if you don't know about Oedipus, you're gonna miss it, and it's just brilliant.
It's awesome.
And History of the World Part 1, especially Hitler on Ice in it, and just which Mel Brooks also played. It's just one of my favorite movies. It really is just it and it holds up. That's the best part. It really and truly holds up nicely. But we also locked in with Mel Brooks. We just did a lot faster than Jonathan and Hannah did. I'm not just saying. I'm just saying.
Both teams locking in with Mel Brooks. So a lot of historical figures in this movie. Did you guys ever see Bill and Ted Face the Music? It's a great movie, but the answer is Mel Brooks. So you're right. It was History of the World Part 1.
You scared the crap out of me. I was like, no.
Mission accomplished.
Oh, man. That was not fun.
At the end of round 1, Chris and Will lead with 20 points. Jonathan and Hannah have 10. That brings us to round 2. And question 1 is from Brian Nash. Thank you, Brian.
Brian Nash.
Thank you, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, right. Your category is boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew.
I mean, I know the reference. I don't know. I want to Sherlock. Hannah, do you want to Sherlock with? No, let's not. We can't. It can't be that. No, we're not going to do it. We can't.
All right. Moving ahead. I think you were smart, Jonathan, because your question is, what style of thinly sliced baked potatoes gets its name from a restaurant in Sweden and not an NFL quarterback who played in Super Bowl 40? And we're just about at time, so I'm going to ask both teams to lock in with an answer, please.
Okay, we're locked in, Nikki.
All right, our time's up, Hannah. Out of the. Well, I'm going to lock in with the last. I'm going to lock in with the loam.
Okay.
Nikki.
Yeah.
So we had a question recently about the year 2003 or 2002, and I did the math. The first Super Bowl was 1963. 40 years after that, it's going to be around 2003. But I didn't know, which team, and I didn't know which season. So we're talking about 2003 technically, but is that the 2003 season with the 2004 Super Bowl? Or is that the 2002 season with the 2003 Super Bowl? I know without a shadow of a doubt that the Buccaneers won the 2002 season. No, I think it's won. It was a 2002 season that they won the Super Bowl in 2003. That's John Gruden, and I feel like that quarterback is Brad Johnson versus Tom Brady, which doesn't make a damn bit of sense for me. And then I was like, okay, well, the Ravens are around that time. Steve McNair. No, I don't see any food name with McNair. Kurt Warner, the Rams won the Super Bowl the year before the Buccaneers, I believe. So Kurt Warner, that doesn't help. Yeah, I know the Panthers got to the Super Bowl sometime around then. Delhomme was a foreign-sounding name. Jake Delhomme was the quarterback of the Panthers. We said Delhomme. Really, really disappointed in not getting this with authority.
Delhomme potatoes sound delicious. Chris and Will, what did you guys lock in with?
Yeah, we started trying to go the quarterback route, and then I switched over to the potato route because I was like, I know some potatoes. Clearly, I know some potatoes.
I mean, Pete Algroton, obviously the right quarterback.
He was an
all-star
amazing quarterback.
Algroton.
That's right. But our answer, even though he was not a quarterback, he sometimes came in as quarterback, but we put Julian for Julian Edelman.
Ah, that's clever.
Yeah.
But,
I don't think he was in the league, but that's clever.
Because just to let you know real quick, you said 1963 was the first Super Bowl. The first Super Bowl was 1967. Just to let you know. Because
then my years are so far off.
Because Super Bowl 7 was the year I was born, and that's the only reason why I remember that, because 7 is my favorite number.
That's a good call out, Chris. That means that I wasn't even guessing in the right territory.
Yeah. So anyway, Nikki, we said Julian. They said Delhomme. What is the correct answer is the question.
Well, it is neither of those. So these points are going again to the great state of Nebraska.
Good job, Nebraska.
I actually am not a sports person. I don't have a whole lot of sports knowledge, but I would have gotten this because I've got food and drink knowledge. And there's another end. Did either of you watch Survivor during its early days, during some of those early seasons?
Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Elizabeth Hasselbeck?
Yeah, sure. She married Tim Hasselbeck.
But his brother.
And the potato is Hasselback. Hasselback potatoes.
Oh, wow.
I've never heard of a Hasselback potato.
You could have given me the Super Bowl and the teams, and I might have still chosen wrong.
Because
I know the guy. I know the players.
Played for the Seahawks.
The Seahawks, and it's against the Steelers.
Yeah. Yep.
The Roethlisberger.
I would have gone with Roethlisberger as the potato because Hasselbeck doesn't sound like a potato.
Seriously, yeah, I'm right there with you. I had no idea.
If potatoes Roethlisberger were a dish, what would it be?
Rotten.
Yeah, sweaty and
Wow.
and
I was
gross.
going to say it'd have burger. It would be like with a burger.
I was going to say invasive. Problematic. It would be a problematic dish.
All right, no points on that one to Hasselbeck.
It would be potatoes that came out looking like one thing, and then halfway through the meal, somebody would come out and change it to look like something else.
Ooh, well played.
Thank you for that question, Brian.
Was in a bad situation and had full facial reconstruction. So the end of his career, he did not look like he did at the beginning of his career.
Okay.
Let's move
Thanks,
on.
Brian, for that question. And question 2 comes to us from Ian Morrison. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you, Ian.
And your category is sports.
Sports ball.
Sports.
What U.S. city was awarded the rights to host the 1976 Winter Olympics, but gave them up after voters rejected a statewide ballot measure to publicly fund them? This would have been a great celebration for both the U.S. bicentennial and the state's own centennial.
All right. Say it, Will.
We are locked in.
All right. So we know that New York, Lake Placid, hosted a lot of Winter Olympics. We don't think that it's that. We don't think it's on the East Coast. We narrowed it down to places like Michigan, Minnesota, Washington, Oregon. Hannah just suggested that she felt like 1976 was too early for Oregon or Washington.
I meant
1876 for the founding of the state. I don't think it is too early for that. Those seem possible.
Okay.
What about Colorado? What about Denver? That feels good.
Yeah.
That feels right about the right time period, and it's a great place for Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
I like that better than what we've said.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? You want to go with Denver or?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it. Yeah. Because I do like it better than Minneapolis or anything in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it makes a lot of sense too, just geographically where it and its, ability to host winter.
Mm-hmm.
So
the only other thing that I'm thinking of, I'm thinking a little bit about Cheyenne, Wyoming, because the Wyoming voters seem like they are the group that would reject it.
We are at time.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about Cheyenne a little bit and Wyoming, and that's where the Grand Tetons are. That's where a few other national parks are, and they were that state was very set against the national parks being there. Like they hated it. They voted against it. So I kind of got that running through my head, but I think Denver is a better answer.
Okay.
So we're gonna guess Denver, Colorado.
Jonathan and Hannah locked in with Denver. Chris and Will, what did you guys answer?
So I was desperately looking for some kind of like foothold or handhold in this question other than rejected the Olympics and was founded in 1876, but we couldn't find anything else other than those two pieces of information. So
I thought celebration might be a clue. It was a weird word.
Perhaps it is, and maybe we will see, but we did not find an angle there. So Chris and I think we're going through a similar thought process of trying to think which sort of states that were relatively young, so likely west of the Mississippi, could host the Olympics. And for some reason, we both sort of thought of Utah. We know that they hosted the Olympics later, so figured maybe that it was sort of a first go around in Salt Lake City. Chris mentioned that, maybe the Mormons were sort of coming to power in the political landscape of Utah around that time in 1976. So perhaps that was one of the factors that led to a sort of tighter public budget. So we locked in with Salt Lake City.
All right, we've got Salt Lake City and Denver as answers. And you guys both said you were searching that question for clues. I think it would have helped you if you knew the state nickname. Do you know what the Centennial State is?
No.
It is. Do you know where Ian Morrison is from? You might have met him at the Denver takeover because he's in Colorado, the Centennial State, and your correct answer is Denver.
Yes.
Hey! We got it.
We got one.
And that
Nice.
ties you guys up coming into question 3. This one is written by me, and the category is a girl's best friend.
Thank you, me. A girl's best friend. Hannah, do you know what a girl's best friend is?
Yeah, but I doubt it's the answer to this question.
All right. We're not going to answer them.
Okay. Your question is Mountain of Light is the translation of what hyphenate diamond? It is one of the largest in the world, and it is currently set in the Queen Mother's crown. I've given you the answer. You just got to translate it. Under a minute. The second half, we're probably going to have to cut chit chat if they're all going this way.
These have been some tough questions today.
We are at time, so I'm going to need both of you to lock in with something.
All right, we're locked in.
Oh, sorry. Are we locked in?
Yeah, let's just do your last one.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we started off and we were like, we're going to get this right. It's going to be a foreign language. It's not going to be English. Cool. Probably French or German or something like that. What do we know about that? And the only everything, the only things we knew, we figured out that mont is mountain in French. So that's cool. Maybe it's mont something. That's where the knowledge stopped, right? Mountbatten is a thing in England. Hannah pointed out that's from the German, so that didn't help much. We figured out photon is a light particle, so I thought maybe the Queen had a diamond called a photon torpedo on her head.
Like Cyclops.
Yes, yeah. We also went down the Mont E Hall and Mont E Python routes. Then Hannah wisely directed us away from this and suggested that, and this is right before time ran out, she said that German for mountains is Berg. So we are locking in with the Ice-Berg diamond that the Queen wears on the top of her head.
Yeah, Will came up with a really funny answer before coming up with a semi-serious trying to piece it together, but we're pretty sure we got this one wrong.
Yeah, so I mean, I was actually I just saw the crown jewels like in April. I was on vacation and went to the Tower of London and did the whole tour. So I am kicking myself for not paying good enough attention. So yeah, we similarly were sort of going through languages, and I was like, okay, Mont means mountain, and like Lumos means light.
Ooh.
So maybe it's Monto Lumos Revenge.
That was gold. That's why
great.
I laughed out loud.
I like that.
But no, we locked in with Mont de Lumiere from.
Aww.
There you go.
I regret to inform you that while those are both some of the most creative names I have heard, I love the etymological logic. That's a tongue twister. Those are very cute answers. Neither of those are right. These points go to the great state of Nebraska. The name of the diamond actually comes from Persian and Arabic origins, and it's the Kohinoor. It's KOH-I-NOOR is the common way that it's spelled. So this is just one of those famous diamonds like the Hope Diamond, you know? Yep. This is the one that's in the crown. So
it would have been great if it was Kali Ma.
In a million years. Yeah. No.
The Kali Ma diamond.
Kali Ma.
Yeah, no, we weren't there. We didn't get that.
I was never going to come up with that.
No.
You could have given me an hour. I was never coming up with that.
Besides the Hope Diamond, it's one of the most famous ones. And I thought maybe if it was in your Rolodex and you heard hyphenate, that maybe that would get you there. But
there are people who answered that correctly, and they are smart people.
Mm-hmm.
If
good
you
job,
got that
smart
right,
people out there.
pat on the back. Y'all were killing it.
Golf clap.
But also, can I get a pat on the back for Iceberg and Mont de Lumiere? I mean, those are clever, you guys.
We tried.
We are at your service.
That's good, Chris. That's really good.
Right, the great stuff. You guys are now tied up, 2020.
And Nebraska has 30 points.
Nebraska's beating us, y'all.
Yes.
Look, Nebraska did not mean to make the game this hard.
But it's the whole state of Nebraska, so they have a few more people playing with them.
I don't know. If you ask these questions to everybody in Nebraska who's not Nikki, I wonder if they'd have more than 20 points.
I can guarantee you they would beat me. I do love trivia, but I feel like I'm a mediocre player. I'm slightly above average just because I play a lot of it, but yeah, there are much, much smarter people than me in Nebraska. Round 3, question 1 comes to us from Ryan Malinafi. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Ryan.
Your category is video games.
Okay.
Do I hear a Sherlock? Anyone?
No.
All right. Just checking. Your question is, what character made its debut in Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo in 1990? It went on to have its own series of games involving a cookie, an island, and a safari.
We're locked in. Jonathan,
Already?
you can just talk it out. Yep.
You're killing me.
I'm trying.
Hannah, I
Yes.
can tell you for certain that Donkey Kong made its debut well before 1990.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, Donkey Kong was a game for its own right before that. Super Mario World is not a game that I ever played on a Super Nintendo that I never had in 1990. I was a Sega kid.
Sega!
Went on to have its own series. Is it Yoshi?
Potentially.
Is Yoshi's Island a thing?
That's the one, like I put Yoshi with Island and that there's like a bell somewhere. It's like, that might be a thing.
Yeah. I think Yoshi's not like newish. He's oldish, but he was absolutely not in Super Mario Brothers, which is like 1984-ish.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely not in Super Mario Brothers 2, which was like 86-ish. 86.
Okay.
And I don't remember him. He might have been in Super Mario Brothers 3, which I feel like was like 89-ish, but I don't recall him there.
Okay.
I don't know what year Super Mario Brothers 3 was either, for what it's worth.
No, I
like Yoshi
that.
here.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do too. Yep.
All right, we're going to say Yoshi.
Locked in with Yoshi. Chris and Will?
Yeah, we actually locked in with Yoshi also. I mean, just Yoshi's Island and Yoshi's Cookie. I think I've seen around. I don't play very many video games, but I keyed in on me. And Will, you agreed, right?
Yep. So I had the old, Super Nintendo and original NES in my basement. So I have my older sister was the one who sort of primarily played those, but I do have very fond memories of, blowing into video game cartridges and, smacking the side of the TV. Yes, Jonathan mentioned Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3, and I agree that I don't think Yoshi was in there, but I do remember playing Super Mario World, which had slightly different graphics, and really enjoying sort of when you got Yoshi to hatch out of the little egg. So I thought it was Yoshi as well.
Both teams locking in with Yoshi. I just want to take you back to your basement in 1990. Maybe you ordered a Bigfoot pizza and you're playing you're playing Yoshi's Island. The correct answer is Yoshi. Nice job.
Good job.
We tied Nebraska. Man, I forgot about the Bigfoot pizza. That was legit.
1990,
Right?
we might have left the basement to go to actual Pizza Hut and eat in person with their steaming hot pans coming right out of the oven. We
Yeah.
lived like kings.
And
y'all.
trying to
Use
eat
your
at that-
Book It gift card.
Yeah.
Try to eat
80s.
at that one TV, that one table that was the video game.
Yeah.
Yep, that was the best.
Now
Yes.
80s Pizza Hut dine-in was an experience that millennials and later truly won't get.
Okay, I have
What
to
you
tell
had
you,
in the
Jonathan.
90s is not what we had in the 80s, is what I'm
Meanwhile,
trying to say.
Hannah and I are like, oh, yes, 1990, that year that we were both alive. Yes. But,
Quiet down. The old folks are talking.
Young whippersnappers.
We took a family road trip for spring break. And on the way, we stopped, and there was an old school Pizza Hut that even had like the red plastic cups and everything.
Yes.
Had all the old decor, and I was like, "Oh, I love it here."
It's one of those things where I think they must have tried to save money and change their ingredients and do all of that, because truly something changed in the taste of it around that time, around 1990, and it never was the same again.
I don't know, but I still have fond memories of that Bigfoot pizza. Let's move on to question 2, and this is sent to us by our old pal Rob Horman.
What? What? What was that?
Horman.
He's not Spanish. What is this?
Don't you remember when Zakia was trying to roll her R's
Yes,
and you
I
guys were
do.
saying Rob Horman?
No,
That's how I'm saying them now.
He never said Workman.
Yep. Rob Worman. Your category. Your category is inventions. Acted like I just made this up. This is a
It's
thing.
so funny.
All right. Your
All right,
question
I'm ready.
in
I'm here.
inventions is we have probably all used a Brannock device more than once in our lives. Invented in 1925 and more than 12 inches long, what does a Brannock device do?
I feel pretty confident.
Say the meow meows.
Well, no, it's fine. I will. Yeah, meow.
Before I've even posted it in the chat, they are locked in. That is some thunder.
Brannock device. Brannock. Okay, I know I've heard this term before. This is a familiar term.
Yep.
It's 1925, more than 12 inches long. What does a Brannock device do? More than 12 inches long, a Brannock device. This sounds medical, like a stethoscope or a tube of some sort of Brannock device. Something that you measure in length. You know, like that's an interesting thing to say, more than 12 inches long. That's a really weird piece of information to provide, you know?
Yeah. And
Brannock. That means it's probably handheld.
yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, probably. Because and he got it very quickly.
Hey, 3 or 4 years ago, I probably would have got it instantaneously. It's just knowledge that has fallen out. I know that I've heard this before.
It's not something as mundane as a ruler, is it?
No, it's not. It's a really good thought, though. And it could be a scientific thing, right?
Yeah.
A Brannock device. Honestly, if I didn't have the context of more than 12 inches long, I might say a hearing aid or something like that.
Mm-hmm. After World War One. I'm just trying to put it in the
Yeah. It's probably not a gun. It might be something that you hold on to. Oh, I'm not even close, I don't think.
Under a minute.
Like a car, like a jack for a car, maybe? Because automobiles were new-ish, right?
Yeah.
So what about like a tire jack? The longer that is, the more effective it would be.
Yeah,
Is there any other car-based thing you could think of?
You're at time.
All right. I guess a jack for a car is our best answer thus far.
Yep.
All right. That's what we're going to say. We didn't have it.
Locking in with car jack. Chris and Will, you guys locked in really fast. What did you guys put?
100% all Will here. I was just a pedestrian on the side of the road.
I'm not really sure how this sort of shook out of my brain, but I'm reasonably confident. I mean, so I enjoy, the odd pair of shoes and boots. And so I believe that I'm, reading website and saying like, what is your Brannock device measurement? So I am reasonably confident that this is the thing that you measure your feet with at the shoe store, the little slidey ruler guy. So I said a Brannock device measures your foot.
Slidey ruler guy is what I wrote down for you. If you caught the clue in the question, it measures more than 12 inches long. That seems kind of an arbitrary fact to include there, except for 12 inches is a foot, because a Brannock device does in fact measure your foot. It's that little shoe size thing.
Nicely done, Will. That was
well done, Will. Well done.
Very nice, Will.
Round 3, question 3, also brought to you by Rob Warman.
Rob Warman.
Warman. And your category is a friend to Santa and Superman.
A friend to Santa and Superman? That feels like it should be Sherlockable, but I don't have it.
All right. Your question is, which animal has been studied by many biologists because each litter of its pups is a set of genetically identical quadruplets?
Do what?
And the category was a friend of Santa and Superman?
A friend to Santa and Superman. Even when you guys get these questions wrong, I am loving the logic that both you guys are coming up with.
I'm sitting here, Chris. Don't look at the chats that are not your chat for a moment.
No, that's fine.
I'm accidentally typing all kinds of stuff into the wrong chat.
I'm closing all the other ones out. I'm honestly looking at Nikki's question just to.
He sent you a picture of sexy Superman, probably.
I'm so glad Nick isn't on this call. Here's everything that I said so far, Hannah.
Oh, okay.
Let me just unsend some of these. No, don't report it. Unsend it. Stop moving around.
Good to know that your and I's brain is on the same wavelength, because that's very similar to what I had put in right before.
Oh my gosh. We're locked in. We're locked in.
I think it's a sign.
All right. Hannah, I'm going to name some reindeer real quick and see if any of them might trigger something for Superman. Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen, and Rudolph. Comet. Somebody had a dog named Comet, but it wasn't Superman. Superman's dog is named Crypto.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of what other animals, like, are reindeer babies called pups?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
So yeah, you're right with sea lions and seals. Is there anything else besides that and dogs?
How do you connect Superman and Santa? They both wear red.
Yeah.
They both fly.
Yeah.
They both have godlike powers. Man's best friend is a dog. I can't think of any dog that would have genetically identical quadruplets every time they had a litter.
Yeah.
It's gotta be reindeer, right? I don't know what reindeer have to do with Superman, but
yeah, I don't know how. I can't think of anything else, and it just seems.
And you guys are at time.
Okay, so I say we just do it.
All right, we're gonna guess reindeer and take our additional L.
You don't know. It could be right. They're locked in with reindeer, Chris and Will.
Yeah. So Will and I, we're going over animals that potentially were pups, and I said, "What about seals?" And I was like, "But I can't put the connection on there." And then Will, you actually made the connection.
Yeah, so when I heard Superman and Santa, I was thinking sort of like that whole like North Pole Fortress of Solitude type region. That was basically what was coming for me with Superman and Santa, but I don't know enough of the sort of lore of either of those, comic book heroes to specifically say whether or not they encountered seals or something else. But yeah, I mean, we thought about reindeer. I sort of figured that I've never heard of anything with hooves called a pup, but you'd never know. But also, it's like a big animal, so it seems kind of insane that it would have four every time. That feels pretty intense. So, yeah, amen. So yeah, Chris said seals have pups, and I said yeah, sure.
And then the funny part is we both I said, so seal, Will put seal, and then we both at the same time typed in kiss from a rose.
Awesome.
That would be a friend of Batman, I believe, instead of Superman. All right, so we've got seal and reindeer locked in, both feasibly friends of Santa and Superman. Unfortunately, I did not get a correct answer, and if you hate this category, you can blame me instead of Rob Warman, because I wrote the category a friend to Santa and Superman. If I tell you that refers to a Friends episode, does that help you?
No.
Monkey?
The episode name is the one with the holiday armadillo.
Huh. Oh, okay. Well, I remember now, but yeah, there you go. Huh.
This is when they can't find a Santa suit, so then he walks in and he's the holiday armadillo, and then someone walks in because they actually did find a Santa suit, and then Joey walks in as Superman. So your answer is the 9-banded armadillo. I would have just accepted armadillo, but that's the one that has genetically identical quadruplets.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Our Friends fans out there are probably pumped when they got that one right.
Mm-hmm.
The holiday armadillo. So at the end of round 3, Chris and Will lead with 40 points. Jonathan and Hannah have 30 points. That takes us to our midpoint.
I'd like to say, Chris and Will, even though we're not doing well,
Yeah.
we're real close to y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you haven't run away with this sucker. We're still in the mix.
Jonathan, the real threat is the state of Nebraska.
I'm worried about Nebraska.
I am too, man.
Nobody
40 points.
suspects Nebraska. Okay, your midpoint comes to us from Rob Warman.
Thank you, Rob.
Poor Rob.
And Rob wants you guys to identify these alloys by their constituent metals. I'm going to post them in the chat. I will also read them. The first alloy is made of copper and tin. The second one is copper and zinc. The third one is iron and carbon. The fourth one, it consists of three. This is iron, carbon, and chromium. And the final one is gold and silver. Silver and gold. So please name the alloys.
We're good to lock in here.
Okay, Jonathan and Hannah, you can talk it out.
So, Hannah, we're coming down to the end of it here, right? And
Yep.
gold plus silver. I mean, I've never heard of gold plus silver as an alloy.
Yeah.
And the best that we're coming up with right now is white gold, which obviously is gold plus. It has to be gold plus something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
To turn the color. Maybe it's just white gold. That's so right now you think the one with tin is brass and the one with zinc is bronze?
I think so.
That sounds right to me too. Tin feels less valuable than zinc and brass feels less valuable than bronze.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking there. Yeah.
So then do you want to go brass, bronze, steel, chrome, and white gold?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's what we're going to lock in.
Let's do it.
Okay, they're locked in with brass, bronze, steel, chrome, and white gold. And just one moment, I'm clarifying something with Chris and Will. They locked in and
So, sorry, what is the clarification that you need? Do we want to include or not include the parenthetical? Let's
correct.
Not include it. I put that there as if you asked to be more specific, that's what I would be more specific with.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so they locked in. Jonathan and Hannah said brass, bronze, steel, chrome, and white gold. Chris and Will, what did you guys lock in with?
I was no help to Will whatsoever. Nothing. I was barnacle on the ship of Will.
So yeah, let me walk through these, I guess. It's just a bunch of random facts bouncing around here. So copper and tin, I used to play the game World of Warcraft when I was younger, and mining was a profession, and you could smelt bronze from copper and tin ore. So I said bronze for that one. Iron and carbon is steel. Iron, carbon, and chromium, I think, is like the shiny steel. So, like, I guess chrome felt too sort of obvious there. And then I am pretty sure that gold and silver is called electrum. I always sort of enjoyed that because it sounded sort of like magic-y. And I really had nothing for copper and zinc, but then sort of pewter shook loose in my brain as sort of an alloy. So we went with pewter. So bronze, pewter, steel, chrome, steel, and electrum.
Okay. Let's do the reveal. Copper and tin, your video game knowledge has served you correctly. That is bronze.
Damn.
Copper and zinc is actually brass. So Jonathan and Hannah, I'm so sorry. You just flip-flopped the first two. Instead of brass and bronze, it was bronze and brass.
Yep.
It kicked your brass.
The third one, iron and carbon. You guys both got it right. That is steel. The fourth one, iron, carbon, and chromium. That addition of chromium into the mix makes it stainless steel. And you guys both went chrome. So I did look it up to make sure that wasn't the same thing. They are not the same. Stainless steel is the alloy that's containing chromium, while chrome is just a thin layer of chromium that they apply on top like plating.
There you go.
Wow. Okay.
And gold and silver is, in fact, electrum. So that means Chris and Will, you got 3 correct. Jonathan and Hannah, you got 1. And that means your scores at the end of the midpoint, Chris and Will lead with 52 to Jonathan and Hannah's 34.
We're beating Nebraska now, Will.
I'm really disappointed in Dungeons and Dragons right now. And the reason is electrum is a money, right? You have copper, you have silver, you have electrum, you have gold. But the order of those things is gold, silver, electrum, copper in terms of rarity and value. And a mixture of gold and silver should be in between gold and silver, not something below silver. You've served me wrong, D&D. I don't appreciate it.
Round 4, question 1 comes to us from Nathan McQuinn. Thanks, Nathan.
Thank you, Nathan.
Your category is before and after.
Okay.
What do you get when you combine the U.S. Supreme Court Justice from 1953 to 1969 with a lottery-winning TV character determined to correct his karmic balance sheet by making up for past misdeeds?
I almost sent my answer directly to Chris in a chat because I was on my chat with him instead of my team chat.
Now that's going to generate some good karma, probably.
We can lock in.
Yeah, we can too. I'm with you.
I think we can 3, 2, 1.
Oh, let's do it. That's going to make up some time, too. Nice job. All right. In 3, 2, 1.
My name is
Earl Warren.
Your name is Earl Warren. Nice job. Both teams got that right.
Thank you, Nathan. That was fun. Good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. So you'll be glad to hear that our next question is from Nathan McQuinn.
All right. Thank you, Nathan. We're even more excited about this one than we were about the last one.
This better be good. You've set the bar high. Your category is religion. The friendly George Fox is often credited with founding which historically Christian denomination in the mid-17th century, whose name is said to have originated when Fox told a judge to, quote, tremble at the word of the Lord.
I think, Chris, you good with that? We can lock in.
Chris is eating, apparently. He can't speak at the moment.
I'm sorry. I'm on this very dull, light diet because of everything, and so I have to actually eat like 6 times a day because it's small little things. So sorry.
Chris, you don't have to apologize. It's just fun.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, Hannah, tremble, shakers.
Yep.
That's a religion.
Yep. Yes,
You
it
good?
is. Yep, I'm totally great with that.
I was like, man, Nathan, you really screwed us here. We were looking forward to your question, and now and as the question keeps going, I'm like, come on, give me something. Then he finally did. It's like, thank God. Thank you. All right, we're gonna say the shakers.
All right, they're locked in with shakers. And what did you guys lock in with?
Shake it.
That's right. Yeah, George Fox for me rung a bell for like one of the Quakers or Shakers or candlestick makers. So the trembling thing narrowed it down to Shakers. So
okay, both teams locking in with shakers. You're very close. What I have here is the Quakers.
I was sitting here thinking, it could be the Quakers now that I think about it. Damn it, is it the Quakers? Oh, no.
The Quakers are the tremblers.
And it's
you guys
the friendly, because the Quakers, oh, no.
You absolutely hit on that. Friendly is a hint at them being called friends.
Yeah.
So I would have accepted Quakers or the Society of Friends. Both are accurate.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, Shakers, I cannot accept, but I absolutely can see. Well, but I can see where you got there.
Honestly, Hannah, after we finished and we were joking around before Will started talking, I was like, Quakers. Quakers means shaking too. Oh, crap. Is it? And then I'm like, no, Quakers are earlier than this. And they're like, crap, they're not earlier than this. Oh, no.
Yeah. And Will wrote Quaker. He wrote Quakers or Shakers or candlestick makers. And
I figured that the Quakers were slightly more mainstream than this was going to be. That was sort of my logic. I was like, the Shakers are like one slightly more obscure here. So that feels like a better answer. But
All right, moving on to question 3. This one comes to us from Brian Nash. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Mr. Nash.
And your category is alliterative people.
Of course, Brian Nash wrote this. Okay.
Your question is, who was the first U.S. president with an alliterative first and last name?
Nikki, I'm putting a question for you in the chat.
I want you to go by how they are commonly known.
Thank you. We can lock in. You guys can talk. We're locked in.
Yeah. No.
Okay. So Washington, Jefferson, couple of Adamses, Monroe, Madison, that gets us into the 1800s, right? None of them have alliterative names. Then you have the like Andrew Jackson people, your Polk Van Buren, Andrew Jackson, Andrew Johnson, Abraham Lincoln, Ulysses Grant, Chester Arthur, Garfield, Taft, Pierce Harrison, John Tyler, Zachary Taylor.
FDR, Teddy. Yeah.
So well, you are jumping all around, aren't you?
It's like just, the 19th century.
Yeah, and then because it's not within the last 50 years.
Dwight Eisenhower. It's not
Kennedy.
So so we have Hoover and Coolidge as presidents that we know for a fact have alliterative names, right? And you said that Calvin Coolidge was before Herbert Hoover. So is there anyone before Calvin Coolidge, basically, that has an alliterative name that you can think of?
No, I don't think so. No, I think Calvin Coolidge is the right way to go.
All right. Yeah, cool. I think I'm good with that. I can't think of anyone else in there. So
we're locking in with Calvin Coolidge.
Locking in with Coolidge. And what did you guys say?
I knew that there would be some in the same era that Will and Chris were talking about, and I wanted to check. So I went through the whole 1800s first, just to be sure, and I'm just naming them off, right? I didn't find any before 1900. I couldn't find a single one, but counting back from Franklin Roosevelt, you go Franklin Roosevelt, Hoover, Coolidge, Harding, Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson was the 19-teens, and so we said Woodrow Wilson. And the clarification was, Nikki, his name is Thomas Wilson. Yeah. Woodrow is a middle name. And she said, no, I want the name that they're known by. It's like, okay, Woodrow Wilson.
I blanked out with frickin' Wilson.
Calvin Coolidge was our 30th president. Woodrow Wilson was our 28th president, and the first one with an alliterative name. And thank you, Jonathan, for clarifying, because I did not realize that was not his first name. So when I got the question with alliterative first and last name, I just assumed Woodrow was his first name. So thank you for clarifying. It is, in fact, Woodrow Wilson.
Love it.
Nicely done.
Well done. Nice one.
Yep.
Every once in a while, just being, I actually, it's not every once in a while. I can't tell you how often it is that memorizing the presidents has helped me answer a trivia question.
Yeah.
Even if it's just placing things in time around them, it is helpful.
Man, I'm mad at myself. I knew that and I just didn't think about it. Dang it.
That only means the game's going to be more exciting because after round 4, Chris and Will, you still lead with 62 over Jonathan and Hannah's 54. So it's getting close.
Hey, that means you guys are ahead of Nebraska now.
Nebraska.
Round 5, question 1, also from Brian Nash.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Mr.
Your
Simmons.
category is I was told there would be no math.
Crap.
Okay, that's a big category.
I take my thank you back, J.K. Simmons. I take it all back.
Wow.
Here is your question. Despite its title, this classic one-hit wonder is not about a mathematical equation that totals negative 4,442. For those of you at home writing this down, I'm going to say it one more time. Despite its title, this classic one-hit wonder is not about a mathematical equation that totals negative 4,442.
Lock it in.
Oh, you're locked in? I don't know what the answer is, but I'm going to love it when I hear it because this is a great way to do a question. This is so cool. Hannah, to be a negative number, it has to be subtracting a bigger number from a smaller number or multiplying a negative times a positive or dividing a negative times a positive, right?
Correct.
So what's the answer?
No idea.
Okay. All right. Just sometimes it's awesome if I do that and you know it. That's like super fun.
Yeah. No. I got really excited for math and then she read the question. I was like, oh no, not this kind of math.
4,442 is a real weird number to land on, right? It's like 2 minus 4,441 or 4,444.
Yep.
But I'm imagining that it's not actually going to be numbers in the title so much as it's going to be like things like me minus the length of a mile, or you know what I mean? It's like it's some weird obtuse way of doing it. This is 2,221 times -2, if that helps. In the year 2525 doesn't give us anything to get to that number. Seasons of Love doesn't give us that number.
No. I was trying to think of like one-hit wonders.
The song is going to have the word equals, plus, minus, subtract, add, multiply, divide. One of those words is probably in there.
Yep.
This feels so much. What a mile is 5,280?
280. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So nobody subtracted 800-ish from that. That's not a song. It feels like it might be a distance.
1 minute.
Yeah.
Diameter of the planet, or the radius of the planet, or the circumference of the planet.
I wish I could think of more one-hit wonders at this moment in time, because that's the other way to try it.
Without a year, how could you even possibly get it from that angle? It does say classic one-hit wonder.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe our 80s or earlier.
Gonna need you to lock in with something in the next 10 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Why don't we say... I don't have an answer in me, Hannah. Do you want to give her a answer?
No.
We abstain. We abstain from this question. We refuse to answer. Officially. Abstinence is the best policy, I've been told.
I'm going to put abstinence in as your answer. Okay. And Chris and Will, I'm going to give you the option to sing the answer.
Jenny, who can I turn to? 8675309.
8675309.
Tommy Two Tones classic.
That is correct.
8675309.
It is 867, which if you read it in print, looks like 867 minus 5,309, which would equal negative 4,442.
I was right. I do love it. That's really good.
It's
Yeah,
it's such an awesome
Nikki, I was not questioning you on the time, by the way. I really wasn't. I was just like, come on, 4 minutes, go.
No, I was anxious for the reveal.
Chris, how did you pull that? That was amazing.
I love one-hit wonders, and I'm not saying I'm a connoisseur of one-hit wonders, but anytime there's a category on that, I'm usually able to parse it out pretty well. And I was like, holy crap, that does look like a minus sign. So, yeah, that's how I got it.
Yeah, very cool question. Awesome job.
Wonderful.
J.K. Simmons rocked it. That was awesome.
Now, you owe him an apology, Chris.
I do. You're right. I apologize to J.K. Simmons for doubting, but in all fairness, you did say math.
I think those are the best questions where even if you miss it, you're like, oh, that was good.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next question. This one comes to us from Chuck Yu. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
And the category is no trivia before coffee.
Okay.
Good rule of thumb. All right, your question is, the 3 drink sizes advertised on the menu at Starbucks are the tall, that's a 12-ounce, grande, 16-ounce, and venti, that's a 20-ounce for hot and 24-ounce for cold. However, there is also an 8-ounce and a 30-ounce size available for some drinks. Give the name of either of these sizes. For a 2-point bonus, name both.
Bonus brigade!
I love the bonus brigade! Yep, go for it, Will.
We're locked in.
Okay, Jonathan and Hannah, you may talk it out.
All right, Hannah, I don't do Starbucks almost ever unless I'm on a road trip and the person I'm with wants it.
Yep.
So this is mostly you. I'm just throwing out the guesses for the bonus, but why don't you talk to us about it?
Yeah, so I knew pretty quickly that the 30-ounce is Trenta. We were just sitting here in the chat trying to figure out what the small one was.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Trenta sounds like it means 30 in Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Venti, is that 20 in Italian?
It very well could be.
Do you know what 8 is in Italian?
Oh.
Because they are naming these things. 2 of these are named for the number of ounces.
Yeah.
An octo. On it. So for the last one, for the guess at the bonus, we've been analyzing the fact that it goes from Trenta to Venti to Grande to tall. Tall is just tall. you know? So maybe the 8 is just small or the short. And these are the best answers we have so far. I also named the mini, the micro,
Yeah.
and I put it in your capable hands. I could probably put like 3 or 4 in your capable hands because they're not that big.
No, they're not. I don't know. Let's just go short, I guess, for the bonus.
All right. We're going to say Trenta for the official one and short for the bonus.
Okay. Chris and Will, you guys had similar answers. What did you lock in with?
Well, I am a little frustrated by this, maybe, potentially. So anyway, yes, Jonathan, to your point, I said in the chat, I am pretty sure that 20 means 20 in Italian, and I'm pretty sure the size up is 30. Now, in my brain, that was Trenti, so not quite Trenta. So we said Trenti for the large one, and then we said Shorty with an I, of course, for the small size. So
wouldn't it be great if the 20, which is 20, is 10 less than the Trenti, which sounds like 20?
So yeah, Trenti and Shorty for
Shorty,
us.
get down.
So we've got Trenti and Shorty and Trenta and Short. Very similar answers. If you have not seen Paul Rudd's rant in the movie Role Models, when he's ranting at a barista about the way that these sizes are named, very relevant here and a funny clip. Your correct answer is Trenta for the 30 ounce, and the 8 ounce is a short.
Oh, we got the bonus too! Good job, Hannah!
Hannah,
Sweet.
I am amazed at your knowledge because you guys also talked about the shots, and I also would have accepted if you said it. There's also a 3 ounce size called the demi, but that's only available for espresso shots. But you guys were even referencing the espresso shots in your chat, so nice work on that.
Yeah, we couldn't have accepted that if you wanted to give it to us because the question says the sizes, so it would have been wrong. Right. But no less impressive for Hannah to get that right.
If you would have slipped me $20, I might have accepted it. All right, round 5, question 3 comes to us from Chuck Yu again. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
Your category is Don't Try This at Home. Your question is, what 1981 film starring an ensemble cast including Burt Reynolds, Jackie Chan, and Farrah Fawcett was inspired by an unsanctioned race between the Red Ball Garage in New York and the Portofino Inn in Redondo Beach, California?
We're locked in.
Wow.
Okay. Hannah, I think that Cannonball Run is a Burt Reynolds movies in the early 80s about an unsanctioned race.
And that's what if you do the Cannonball Run like on a motorcycle, starts like in those. That's what I was thinking. I was like, that sounds like a Cannonball Run, but I couldn't. I wasn't sure. That's a movie with Burt Reynolds. Okay, that's.
We're gonna say Cannonball Run.
They locked in with Cannonball Run. Chris and Will, you guys locked in very quickly. What did you say?
Yeah, I loved those movies as a kid. I mean, I was like 7, 8, 9 during that time when Cannonball Run and Cannonball Run 2 came out. And I remember Jackie Chan being in it because he just did some unbelievable stuff in it. And I was never a big Burt Reynolds fan, but I was in Cannonball Run. He was great. And so we locked in with Cannonball Run.
Cannonball Run?
Cannonball. Yep.
Both teams locked in with Cannonball Run. Both teams are correct.
All right.
Yes, that's what we like to be.
A little flavor from Chuck. He says the current world record for the race is accepted to be 25 hours and 39 minutes, averaging 110 miles per hour. That's the average.
They flew their car there.
While making the drive is perfectly legal, breaking the world record would involve speeds much higher than any existing speed limit, and teams often have modified cars designed to minimize fuel stops and spotters and technology designed to help them avoid or evade police.
And traffic, I imagine.
That sounds like less than 12 parsecs to me.
I tell you what, that's a movie I'm shocked they haven't remade.
Yeah,
they
right?
could totally
well, they kind of
do
have.
something fun with that.
They kind of have. There's other movies about driving races and whatnot. Can you imagine you do all this stuff to set up for your record-breaking run, and you get caught in traffic around Indianapolis or something like that. You're like, what the hell?
And then the balloons go off and you just float over them. They've designed some sort of...
You doofenshmirtz it.
All right. Next question. This is... Oh, wait. I got to give you a score update.
I was about to say, this is a big one.
Yeah, it is a big one. You guys are getting close. This is only a 6-point separation. Chris and Will have 82. Jonathan and Hannah with 76. Only 6 points apart.
Did they answer one that we didn't in that round? They did, the math one.
The math one.
I was like, man, I thought we caught up by more than 2 points. I thought we had a lead. No.
You both got 2 right, and you guys did get the bonus points, so that helped you. Mm-hmm. But we've still got one more round before the gauntlet. So, starting out round 6, Chuck, you again brings us the question. Thank you, Chuck.
Oh, it's Chuck you round.
All right, let's do it.
And your category is sports.
Sports ball.
Sports.
What game or class of games most commonly makes use of an oki? Though it was spelled like hockey until the 1970s, the answer is not hockey. And while it measures a distance close to 8 feet, its etymology does not involve the number 8. And so listeners know the spelling of oki is O-C-H-E. It looks like oach or oak. Jonathan Oakes.
When you say it was spelled like hockey, do you mean O-C-K-Y, O-C-K-E? Or was the whole thing just hockey?
Ooh. Let me do a little research on that.
Okay, because there's a whole part of that question that I don't understand.
I did not write that, so I don't know off the top of my head.
I can look it up for you if you want.
No, I think you should probably not during the game.
Worth a try. If I had your permission, I was allowed to. It's the rules.
Okay, it says was formerly spelled hockey, Hockey.
Okay, thank you.
And the category is just sports ball, correct?
Sports.
Okay.
Well, sports.
Yeah.
One more clarifying question, Nikki, and I'm asking out loud for everybody. When you say measures a distance close to 8 feet, is there any implication there of whether you mean 8 feet in diameter, 8 feet long, 8 feet tall? Was there anything around that we should know? If not, it's
long.
Okay. Long.
I'll give it to you. Long.
Okay, thank you.
And sadly, we are at time, so I'm going to need both teams to come to an answer. Give me your Aki.
Hannah, I guess we have a thing. We can't keep talking, so we're going to lock in.
Yep.
Okay.
You guys have to do the same.
Yep. No, yeah, we're locked in then because we have to.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, we locked in. Yeah, we had a lot of debate. We talked about polo. I mentioned curling. Will mentioned jousting. So we were kind of all over the map, to be honest with you. And I really like the polo part, but it's just, I was thinking it was like the mallet that they use. I don't think that's 8 feet. And I think you agreed with that, Will.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the very last minute, we both said pole vaulting. And so that's what we locked in with, was pole vault.
Okay, locking in with pole vault. And Jonathan and Hannah, I think they mentioned something that you guys locked in with.
Yeah, I don't hate pole vault, Hannah.
No, I don't either.
That seems super possible.
Yep. But we locked in with the polo mallet.
I felt like it's too long. 8 feet is too long for that. But hey, you're up on top of a horse. You got to get all the way to the ground. Maybe.
You're not wrong.
Clydesdale polo.
Giant polo. Pole vault and polo. I love the logic that you guys were using for
Nebraska.
In your chats. This is another Nebraska one.
Damn you, Nebraska!
Aki comes from a French word meaning notch. This is the throw line for darts. The throw line or the toe line. You're almost 8 feet away. It is actually 7 feet, 9 3/4 inches from the dartboard. That is the Aki.
Ted Lasso, you failed me.
That's a tough one.
I feel like we've had it in the last year and still didn't sink in.
I don't think we had something leading to Aki. I thought it was like within how many inches, how far do you stand? Something like that.
Because I was trying to decide if this was like a piece of equipment that like players were like wielding, or if it was a part of the field of play, right? So guess it was the latter.
I love that he phrased it most commonly makes use of. So you didn't know if it was like an item and you guys were thinking about like a jousting lance or a polo mallet. And so good question. But nope, it is just the tow line for darts.
Okay.
Round 6, question 2. This question comes to us from my children, Jude and Caroline. It was inspired by them.
Wow.
Oh, thank you, Jude, and thank you, Caroline.
That is awesome, Nikki.
Your category is video games.
Crap.
No Sherlocks? All right, hearing none. Your question is climbing walls and chasing friends using only your virtual arms. This wildly popular VR game, one of the top downloads on the Oculus platform, proves you don't need legs to cause chaos in the jungle. What's the name of this movement-based multiplayer hit?
Even Nikki's kids are writing questions too hard for me to answer.
They inspired this. I wrote it. And if you guys would like an additional hint, I can give you both an additional hint if you want it.
Hannah, I'm going to say we don't want an additional hint because while it might bring them closer, it's not going to bring us closer. Yeah, we refuse your hint. Thank you, Nikki.
Oh.
Nikki, we would like to lock in.
Oh.
Okay. Then Chris and Will, talk it out.
All right, Nikki, how much time do we got left?
You've got about 2 minutes.
So, yeah, the no legs thing, I agree with you, Will, is an absolute clue. I mean, originally I was thinking...
You're either named Bob or Matt.
Dang it, you stole my joke. Thanks, John. Yeah. Or if you're hanging on a wall, art. So, anyway, so, Will, I mentioned Minecraft because I remember you see people's hands in it, but you don't see anything else. And I know you're building stuff, but you're right. I don't think it's on the VR portion of it. I mean, you said a game. You said Bottomless Monkey, and I was like, serious? What is Bottomless Monkey? Is that a game?
No, it's not a game. That's just the
It should be.
That's right. Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Not a game for kids, Chris. Not a game for kids. But no,
awkward. So awkward now. Thanks, Will.
So climbing walls and chasing friends using only your virtual arms. So I have literally no clue. So I don't really want to try to overthink this one to death because I don't think we're going to get it. I mean, you don't need legs. So yes, so proves you don't need legs. Like what in the jungle is something that wouldn't have legs? Like, do you have anything that is ringing a bell there?
No, I'm sorry.
Giant centipede.
And as I said, I don't do VR games just because VR gives me a really bad headache. I mean, like migraine headache. So I just can't do them. My bag of nothing is even nothinger than it normally is. So,
what about like torso twister or something? Yeah.
Like I said, the only Oculus game I know about is Saber Beats because you have a freaking lightsaber, and that's it.
Which is a fun game, but
it's not what we're looking for.
Not what we're looking for, unfortunately.
And I'm going to need you guys to come up with something to lock in with because we're about at time.
Okay.
All right, well, lock in something.
Jungle torso.
There you go.
Yeah, jungle torso.
I like Bottomless Monkey better than that.
Locking in with jungle torso. Jonathan and Hannah, what did you guys lock in with?
We knew we weren't going to get the answer. We didn't feel like we needed to spend extra time on it. We guessed parkour.
Parkour!
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 Oh, man. Nebraska's having a great game. Neither of these are right.
Shocker.
You
None
don't
of them are
say.
right.
You were closer than you think with Bottomless Monkey. The answer is Gorilla Tag.
Yeah, not in a million years.
The legs comment, you don't need legs. When you're playing on the Oculus, you are using your arms only to run and climb because that's where you're holding the controllers. So my kids have been playing a lot of Gorilla Tag. You mentioned Beat Saber. This has actually overtaken Beat Saber in user reviews. It has over 10 million users with 1 million daily active players and 90,000 concurrent players. So if you Google it right now, I'm seeing it ranked as number 2 right now.
It's a great idea. It's a multiplayer game where your goal is to find other people and tag them, and you can only move with your arms.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yep. So
super
you can
cool.
bounce from wall to wall and kind of climb up things if you can do it quickly enough. But according to my son, it's kind of a tricky thing to do. But yeah, Gorilla Tag is your answer. So go play it.
Cool.
Very
Okay.
cool.
Or somebody make the game Bottomless Monkey because we all want to play that.
True that. Double true.
That is that as well as Will insinuated. That is an adults only game.
All right. Round 6, question 3, brought to you by Nikki Bates.
Thank you, Nikki.
All right, Nikki.
All right.
Your category is music.
Music.
Instead of demolishing buildings, they quietly built hit after hit behind the scenes for everyone, from the Beach Boys to Frank Sinatra. What name was later given to this legendary group of Los Angeles session musicians from the 1960s and 70s?
Oh, wait, no. We're locked in.
Okay, Jonathan and Hannah, talk it out.
Thank you, Will.
Okay, so yeah, my first instinct was like, a band that sounds like the Beach Boys and might have been session musicians. There's a band called The Ventures, who I think were the first ones to do Wipeout, which sounds a hell of a lot like a Beach Boys song, but not much like a Frank Sinatra song. Then the clue at the front is so dominating that it has to be something that sounds like somebody who demolishes buildings, right? The bulldozers, the cranes, the wrecking balls, etc. And then, Hannah, the wrecking crew is the last thing I said. In wrestling, there's a Minnesota wrecking crew. There's a couple of other places. In comic books, there's a wrecking crew. So it is a name given to groups of people sometimes.
Yeah. And I had thrown out something with like dynamite. Is there anything there? Or, I mean, I like the wrecking crew as an idea.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody whose name sounds like dynamite.
J.J. Walker?
You know what? No, see, that's the thing. I was going to say another answer here could actually be the Bee Gees, because they were doing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff before they became their own band, but that doesn't fit the cluing at all.
Mm-mm.
Wrecking Crew is probably my best answer as a guess.
Okay. I'm good with that.
All right, we're going to guess the Wrecking Crew.
Jonathan and Hannah locked in with Wrecking Crew. Chris and Will, I hear a heavy sigh. Tell me why.
Yeah, they got it right. It is the Wrecking Crew. I've heard of these session singers before because as I've talked about, one of my favorite podcasts is a show called Hit Parade, and Hit Parade has talked about the Wrecking Crew on a regular basis in a number of different shows. It was there, and thankfully Will just kept throwing stuff out. I mean, because I could not think of the name at all. And then he said Wrecking Crew, and I was like, yes. I mean, it was just, it was like, thank you, because this was going to just drive me mad. Absolutely mad. So yes, we locked in with Wrecking Crew. Sorry, Will, I didn't give you a chance to talk, but I appreciate you more than you know, my friend.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Chris just was hoping to jar it loose, so thought I could help.
You came in like a wrecking ball, my friend.
You both came in like a wrecking ball, and your correct answer is the Wrecking Crew. Nice work.
Awesome.
That means at the end of round 6, your scores are 92. That's Chris and Will leading with 92 to Jonathan and Hannah's 86.
God bless it.
Because you want to keep that in mind as you place your wagers for the gauntlet. And your category for the gauntlet is O Brother. And that is spelled with just an O, not an OH. O Brother.
Who wrote the gauntlet?
Some lady named Nikki Bates.
Okay.
So send me your wagers. Let me know when you're locked in with those.
Yeah, sorry.
I have to say my favorite little tidbit from the chats during this game is Jonathan just said, think of potatoes. And I was like, that's my secret, Captain. I'm always thinking of potatoes.
Yeah. She said she didn't know the sports. I'm like, well, think of the potatoes then. All right. Our wager's locked in.
We're locked in.
Your gauntlet in the category of Oh Brother. Your first question is, besides the title instrument in Ocarina of Time, What instrument does Zelda play in the Legend of Zelda series?
Is this like a type of instrument or like a name of a specific instrument?
This is not a proper noun. This is a type of instrument.
Okay.
Why am I using my phone again?
Because you
Muscle memory.
Habits, man, habits. Also, my grammar is lovely. I said, "Is you ever playing a Zelda game?" That was all autocorrect.
Icon has answers.
Will looks like he has a headache.
I'm just trying to take it back to the time in my life where I played Zelda, but when I was ever playing a Zelda game.
Is.
Yep, we're locked on this one.
All right, our answer's locked in.
Okay. Question 2 in your gauntlet, the category Oh Brother. Much like a TARDIS, whose small Sesame Street home defies physics by somehow containing a bowling alley, swimming pool, and ice rink?
Okay, I think we're going to lock in then.
Okay, Nikki, we're locked in.
Okay. And your final question in the gauntlet. What disco band is responsible for Les Freaks and I'm Coming Out?
We're going to lock in.
Let's do it. We're locked in.
Okay, we're going to go through and reveal what you guys put for your answers. I'm going to start with question. We go through it in order this time, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Question 1 was, besides the title instrument in Ocarina of Time, what instrument does Zelda play in the Legend of Zelda series? Chris and Will, what did you guys put?
We said a flute.
Jonathan and Hannah, what did you guys put?
We saw in her hand, we've never played the games. I never played a single Zelda game, neither has Hannah. In my mind's eye, I see her playing a small handheld harp that I think is called a lyre, so we said a lyre.
Who are you calling a liar?
You.
Question 2.
Totally you.
Much like a TARDIS, whose small Sesame Street home defies physics by somehow containing a bowling alley, swimming pool, and ice rink? Jonathan and Hannah, what did you guys put?
We went with Oscar the Grouch. Seemed like a small house and something that would work well with the category 2.
Okay, Chris and Will?
Yes, we also said Oscar the Grouch. Seemed like there was a lot going on in that trash can. So
He's stuck in the can. Question 3, what disco band is responsible for Les Freaks and I'm Coming Out? Chris and Will, what did you guys have?
We said Chic.
Jonathan and Hannah?
I think Le Freak is chic. We said chic.
Okay, time for your reveals. I'm going to start in the middle. Much like a TARDIS, the Sesame Street home is inhabited by Oscar the Grouch. You are correct. He's got a lot going on in that can. Question 3 was, what disco band is responsible for Les Freaks and I'm Coming Out? Both of you guys were in agreement that it was Chic, and you are correct.
Good.
It is Chic.
All right. Yeah, I don't know the combination. I don't know how it ties together either, Chris, but I didn't care. I was like, this has got to be chic.
And besides the title instrument and Ocarina of Time, what instrument does Zelda play in the Legend of Zelda series? Well, an ocarina is a woodwind. That is the one that kind of is like a flute. So it is not a flute. It is a lyre harp.
Oh.
Hey, we get it. We got it right.
Wow.
Come on. You're kidding.
I would have accepted just harp, but I looked it up and it is listed as a lyre harp. So you do get credit for that, meaning that you guys got all of them correct. So it's going to come down to wagers. Chris and Will, you started out with 92. How much did you guys wager?
We figured, based on the way that this game was going and sort of Nebraska's relative performance, that this might be a tough category for us. So we wagered 5 juicy points.
Okay, that means you guys end with 87. And Jonathan and Hannah, you went into the gauntlet with 86. You've got everything right. So it's coming down to wagers. Did you wager more than 0?
We figured that they would wager 5. We, of course, then wagered 12.
So with a final score of 98, Jonathan and Hannah are your winners of this game.
Oh, my God.
Only time they've led the whole game is right now.
And based on a thing we didn't know as a fact.
Oh.
So can I tell you what the connection was?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, yeah, sure, please.
Okay, so if you would have answered harp, instead of liar. That's
Harpo.
the
Harpo, Groucho, and Chico.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Gummit.
I love it! I love it! That's amazing!
Freaking well done. Holy crap. Oh. I tip my hat to you, my friend. I
So
tip my hat.
cool.
That is awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh, that's so
that
good.
ending. That ending
Holy
was so
crap.
excited. What an upset. You guys trailed the whole game and it came down to wagers. And you guys were so close too on that final question. Just one answer difference. So
I want to say that is the best gauntlet category in the history of Trivial Warfare.
That is not wrong.
Is tremendous.
well, thank you. High praise.
I completely agree. There is not a better thought out gauntlet than that one. That was amazing.
So good.
Amazing.
So good. That's what a cool finish. But you're right. That's the first and only time we led this game. And I don't even know, Hannah, honest to God, I don't know where I would have seen that image.
No.
Maybe she uses the harp in like Super Smash Brothers. I played that for a little while with Sebastian.
Yeah. I pictured it as like something on like a title screen. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I've seen a screenshot or something that it's been in. Like, that's the only.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Yep.
All right. Well, before we go, we like to give everybody a chance to do shout outs and promote causes that they care about. Hannah, you're today's big winner. We're starting with you.
I think I just thank you for having me on today. I appreciate it. Glad my schedule finally worked out. And I guess I'll just say, be kind to everybody and treat everybody the way you want to be treated. My
Love
message
it
for the day.
All right. Will, over to you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, I would say, glad to be a part of this community after listening to the podcast for 7-8 years. So everyone sign up for the Patreon. It's totally worth it.
Woo!
And yeah, we have a lovely rescue dog that we have had for the last 6 years. So that's been one of the best things that my wife and I have ever done. So let's say rescue animals from the shelter, whether it's a dog or a cat or something else, or, donate to your local ASPCA or Humane Society or whatever it is. Support those animals out there.
Love that.
Well said.
Totally agree. All right, guys, that is going to wrap us up. So for Hannah, for Will, for Chris, and for Nikki, my name is Jonathan. This has been episode number 538 of Trivial Warfare. It's not just trivia. Here, it's not just trivia. It's war. That was terrible. We're just going to go with it. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have fun storming the castle.
Thanks for listening to Trivial Warfare. Be sure to check out the revamped TrivialWarfare.com as your one-stop shop to submit questions, join the community, and get access to over 150 archived episodes. Warm It Up was written and performed by Matthew Stevens. This episode was edited and produced by me, Joel Sharpton. For help with your podcast, visit ProPodcastingServices.com.